Friends, I speak about the fifth condition. Responsible decision making and action on decision, but so far I spoke of the individual. Let's move to the group. If a group have to make a decision, it's a slightly different process. But it takes the same 7 steps. Who makes a decision? Decide to decide. Decide when to decide. Explore the options. Sleep on it for 3 nights. Decide and act on it. Problem is, number 1, who is the authority? So even with individuals, it's a bit of a struggle because different personalities claim to be the leader. In a group, it's real on another level. It's different people. Now, in very hierarchical institutions, no problem. The head decide. Leader in Arabic is Rais, which means the head. So, Ras, Rais. So if the head decide, no problem. And that exists in the army, in the police, in the civil service, in privately owned enterprises, and of course, in government. So everything is subject to government regulation, government subject to the parliament, parliament is subject to election every few years, but in between there's a prime minister. So this is simple, who make decision. But when it comes to a group that is not hierarchical, that is not just putting somebody on top, and that doesn't want to descend into chaos either, well then we have to decide who makes the decision. I'm talking to schools and I'm talking to all the schools, and we are not supposed to have an autocrat at the top of it. It's supposed to be a republic of teachers. Who is the boss? Well, some schools think everybody is a boss. So every parent who put a child there is actually a member of some association maybe. And so let's get them all together and every decision will run by them. Well, you know, that's not practical. So there have to be conscious selection of the decision makers. Well, some schools have college of teachers is a deciding one, but a teacher doesn't automatically belong there. You have to be a teacher for 2 years before you belong to the college of teachers, and then you are part of decision making. Okay, now we know college of teachers decide. But sometimes college of teachers is 30 people and more. How can you make decisions like that? So the college decide on a mandat group to decide on finances, another mandat group to decide on administration, and so on. But sometimes we decide that these people decide on finances, but they don't report to us because they think they're independent. And so it's not clear who is the boss, those who gave them the mandat or those who got the mandat without a date. So don't give mandat without a date, because they have to return and report to the decision maker. And sometimes only in crisis time, the teachers realize what is a constitution. Friends, you're registered, there's a constitution, please have a look. Because if anything becomes legal, it goes back there, that's a contract. And in the constitution, there must be a clause that defines who is the decision maker. Sometimes all of this doesn't have, and you have to decide on the spot who decides. That's very important. Because only when people know that they are part of the decision-making group, they start to take personal responsibility. If it's not clear who in the body makes decision, nobody takes full responsibility, because if something goes wrong, I didn't really think we should do that. But you didn't say so. Decide who decides. Process in itself. Next step, decide to decide. Well, you cannot decide to decide if you don't know who decides to decide. So you have to decide who decides, and then decide to decide. We're going to do it. We're going to decide when. Date it. Dating it free everybody and commits everybody. And sometimes unexpected supports are coming towards that date. As Goethe always said, you make a commitment, support flocking to it. So make a commitment for time. And everybody knows at the time we decide. So maybe 5 people decide about raising salaries for teachers. But they're appointed, we know who appointed them, there's community around it, and everybody can know that on the 1st of March we decided on the salaries. And so people talk, and maybe they have something to say, and you can listen to everybody and consult. and everybody feel a part of it, no problem. You know who will decide. It's important to make the time and then to consult. Not enough. I move on. You need to consolidate the options. And sometimes you don't know what they mean. Financial decisions have financial implications. You have to consult those who understand finance. Pedagogical decisions have pedagogical implications. You have to consult. And sometimes it's legal decisions and you're not a lawyer. Consult. So there must be a time of research and collecting of facts, consulting and consolidating the options and what they mean. No need to do it in a haste. And none of you is an expert on everything. Experts are important, but some schools make the mistake of getting the experts to decide for them. For instance, you may have to make a decision about investing in promotion. Oh well, you're not a promoter, go and ask promoters, they'll give you advice. But they don't understand the nature of your school like you do. Don't let other people, external outsourced people, decide for you, but by all means, listen to them, because they may know something you don't. All this goes into forming the options so the decision is informed. Then there must be a process. I pointed before for the 3-night sleep of individuals. Don't do less than that, because the group that is authorized to decide still have to find a way to do that together. Well, you have to decide in advance how to decide. There's no ready-made process of decision making. And sometimes different topics require different decision making. For instance, in Parliament, very often the parties have to follow party line and they're told by the head of the party how to decide. But sometimes they leave them free and every member of Parliament decides on their conscience when it comes to moral issues like abortion, like drugs. So you have to decide how you decide. Here are the basic options. Many schools say, we decide by consensus. Well, how do you know it's a consensus? Are you voting? No, it's consensus. There is no consensus without voting, because how would you know it's consensus? Then you know, people say we all agree, no problem. But what if one person objects, stopping the whole thing? You always have some stubborn people there. Do you want one person to stop the whole thing? Well, you can decide in advance. It is consensus minor one. So even if one person objects, everybody support it, we still do it. And everybody knows it's like that. So they know if they object, it still may continue. Or we decide voting with normal majority. It's completely legitimate. We vote and the majority rule goes. Okay, but it doesn't tell you how to deal with the minority, how to deal with those who disagree. If a third of the collegium decide not to do something and 2/3 decide to do it, do you push it? I advise not to. You can decide on an option that if there is a substantial objection, you stop and listen again to the objection. You can decide to sleep on it one more night once you heard the objection. But also decisions have to be made in time, so you can decide whatever we do, by that date we certainly decide by majority, because we have to move on. I just show you some basic possibility of a process that you have to decide on before you enter it. This is essential. Decide how to decide before you actually decide. And then decide. And then you better act on it. Because if you don't, your character weakens, your public persona changes, your reliability suffers, and you destroy the collective will. Like Montgomery said, the most talented military leader of the Second World War, you thought, decide. You decided, act. That's for the collective decision-making process.